Right, the webcast is all good. Is the webcast all good? Yep. Okay. They're still seating up the front here. If anyone at the back there would like to take a seat. Okay. Good morning, all. On behalf of the ACT Electoral Commission, welcome to the official declaration of results for the 2024 ACT Legislative Assembly election. My name is Damien Cantwell and I am the ACT Electoral Commissioner. I acknowledge the Ngunnawal people as traditional custodians of the ACT and recognise any other people or families with connection to the lands of the ACT and region. We acknowledge and respect their continuing culture and the contribution they make to the life of the city and the region. So before declaring the election result, firstly I'd like to congratulate and commend all of the 149 candidates who participated in this election. That's up from 137 from the 2020 election. Now I take this as an indication that democracy in the ACT is alive and strong, trusted and inclusive, and I couldn't say that without the courageous people of all backgrounds, identities and interests determined to make a difference to Canberra's future and have the courage to stand up and put themselves forward for election. So well done. Now, the electoral environment is one of increasing risks to electoral integrity and in meeting community expectations of high-quality electoral services. In this backdrop, the Commission has sought to deliver a trusted, transparent, secure and accessible election for all. And I'm proud to say that Elections ACT delivered on this intent, demonstrated by our extensive integrity assurance measures and the proactive community and stakeholder engagement. The innovative low-sensory voting centre for neurodivergent electors is a notable example of our commitment to accessibility and inclusiveness for all voters. We've also enacted new or continuing legislation related to the misleading electoral advertising, bans on donations by property developers and foreign entities, and mandatory 7-day reporting of gifts, all intended to strengthen democracy through enhanced transparency of political processes and to better inform voters. The Commission welcomed the early passing of electoral legislation by the Legislative Assembly, allowing for development of new operational processes and timely recruitment of staff by Elections ACT. We have again been very well supported by numerous ACT government directorates and agencies, including Digital, Data and Technology Solutions, the ACT Government Solicitor, Access Canberra, Major Projects Canberra, Education Directorate and ACT Policing. I wish to thank our many specialist vendors, our colleagues in the Australian Electoral Commission and federal security agencies and expert academics in advising me on matters of security and electoral integrity. Now, at the risk of appearing somewhat self-indulgent, I want to especially thank and commend my small but highly professional and dedicated team, Elections ACT. My Deputy, Rose Spence, who I'm sure is known to many of you, again proved his blend of experience, commitment and enthusiasm to be invaluable to me and the Commission. Thank you, Ro. My team leaders, Jiv, Renata, Juan, Viviana, Mashi, Rachel and Vicky, and indeed all of my staff, work tirelessly not just in their own teams but across the organisation to prepare and deliver a very successful election. My thanks, of course, also to our dedicated polling officials, all casual staff, who worked hard for extended hours in our many voting centres across the ACT and made the election happen. A few noteworthy statistics from this election. So more than 99% of eligible ACT population were enrolled by the close of polls at 6 p.m. on the 19th. That's near 100% enrolment. Turnout was 87% of those enrolled. Approximately 58% of voters cast their vote early, either at one of the early voting centres or via post. Almost 55% of votes cast were cast electronically, giving rise to exceptionally low informality rates, this being a significant advantage and strength of electronic voting. And again, over 50% of the elected candidates are women, a continuing trend in ACT elections, another highly notable achievement in our inclusive society. Now it's my pleasure to now declare the result of the 2024 ACT Legislative Assembly election. I'll list the successful candidates in electoral order and within each electorate, in the order in which they were successful in the count for the election. In accordance with section 189 of the Electoral Act 1992, I hereby declare the following candidates elected to the ACT Legislative Assembly. Brenda Bella, Mark Parton for the Canberra Liberals, Deborah Morris, Canberra Liberals, Caitlin Tough, ACT Labor, Tamus Werner-Gibbings, ACT Labor, and Laura Nuttall, ACT Greens. Ginadera, for Ginadera, Tara Chain, ACT Labor, Yvette Berry, ACT Labor, Peter Kane, Canberra Liberals, Joe Clay, ACT Greens, and Chaka Barry, Canberra Liberals. For Kurrajong, Andrew Barr, ACT Labor, Elizabeth Lee, Canberra Liberals, Rachel Stephen-Smith, ACT Labor, Shane Rattenbury, ACT Greens, and Thomas Emerson, Independents for Canberra. Murrumbidgee, Jeremy Hanson, Canberra Liberals, Chris Steele, ACT Labor, Fiona Carrick Independent, Ed Cox, Canberra Liberals, and Marissa Patterson, ACT Labor. For Yerrabee, Michael Peterson, ACT Labor, Suzanne Orr, ACT Labor, Leanne Castley, Canberra Liberals, James Milligan, Canberra Liberals, and Andrew Braddock, ACT Greens. On behalf of the ACT Electoral Commission, I congratulate the elected candidates and we wish you every success in your duties in the 11th Legislative Assembly. I'm going to do a happy dance soon, I tell you. I hereby declare that the result of the 2024 election is set out in the published scrutiny sheets showing the distribution of preferences for each electorate. And that concludes the declaration of results for the 2024 ACT Legislative Assembly election. I would invite the leaders of any parties here to say a few words if they wish. Thank you for coming, and I'll see you in 2028. I'll open the floor to anyone who wishes to speak.
I'll leave the happy dance to Ava, but thank you, Commissioner, and your team as well for the very professional way in which the ACT election was run. And I congratulate every candidate who put their hand up. All of the new candidates who have been elected, congratulations. On the Liberal side, of course, Deborah Morris and Chaka Barry, who we add to our team. And also Thomas Emerson and Fiona Carrick, independents for the first time in over 20 years, so congratulations to you. And Caitlin Tough and Tamus Werner-Gibbings for the ACT Labor Party. And of course, I pay tribute to the MLAs and colleagues and friends that we said goodbye to along the way from the term. Nicole Lauder from the Canberra Liberals, who was an incredible local member, and she'll be sorely missed, not just by the Canberra Liberals, but also, of course, by the Assembly and her constituency. And we also said farewell to Joy Birch, Madam Speaker, and Ava knows that we need a bit of a break right now. and also farewell to Rebecca Vazzarotti and Emma Davidson, who weren't returned, and Mick Gentleman, as well as Elizabeth Kickett, who we had a chance to work with throughout the term. Now, the election result, of course, was not what we wanted from the Canberra Liberals on the night, but I think there is still a lot that we can be proud of. And I'm sure that everyone in this room is in the bubble and probably knows that we've got our own leadership tussle happening this week. But whatever happens, I'm so grateful and privileged to have had the opportunity to lead the Canberra Liberals team to the 24 election, and I thank my colleagues for that honour. And congratulate the entire 149, I think it was, Commissioner, of the candidates who put their hand up. It's not easy, and it is something that is incredibly fruitful and important to our democracy. Congratulate Andrew Barr and Shane Ranbury for their efforts in leading their parties to the election as well. And I'm going to have to say a big commiserations to James Daniels, but Laura, I think that was probably the closest nail-biting win that we've seen for a long time. So congratulations to you on pulling through. Whatever the next 4 years holds, the Assembly has always been a very collaborative and enjoyable place to work. And I think that whilst the media may capture some of the issues that we disagree on, there is actually a lot that we can get done together. And with the new dynamic in the Assembly, I certainly hope that that will be the case even more so in the next term. So thank you very much and congratulations to everyone who was elected.
Repair the kit after. Do you want to hang out with me? No. Well, I would like to also thank the ACT Electoral Commission for the conduct of the election. It is a real reassuring thing in the ACT. There has been no discussion about the conduct of the election. I think that is a credit to the Commission and all their staff. As I just came in, I said they were all looking very relieved, and I think deservedly so. So thank you for the conduct of the election. It's such an important part of our democracy, feeling like a strong one, and people having trust and faith in our system. And I'm very grateful to the Commission for their work on that. I was reflecting on the fact that there was 149 candidates and 25 of us selected. We had a 1 in 6 chance. I'm sure that's what it felt like out there. But it was congratulations to the other 24 people who will become my colleagues in the Assembly for this next term. I look forward to working with all of them. We have a lot to do. Between us all, we took a lot of ideas to the election. We've all just had a lot of community feedback. And I think we've all got a really clear sense of the things we want to work on. And I look forward to those discussions across the course of the term. I also acknowledge perhaps departed members is the best way to describe it. Elizabeth named them all. Each of them has made their contributions through the course of the term, the previous term or previous terms. And we will miss them in their various ways, their various traits they brought to the Assembly. Particularly for me, of course, losing 2 of our colleagues is a sense that we feel very strongly. I don't want to start a sense of being argumentative on just today, but Elizabeth, I would reflect on the fact that whilst Laura had a narrow margin, she has in fact doubled the winning margin compared to when the Greens held Bindabella at the 2020 election. So well done, Laura. You've made it just a little bit safer for us, and I think that's a welcome thing. I think there are going to be some interesting discussions through the course of this term about how we conduct the 2028 election. Having been out on the trail talking to people across the parties, candidates and campaign workers, I think there'll be some interesting reflections on the 100-metre rule, on how call flutes are done. And also I was intrigued to see over the last couple of days a national discussion starting about how long a pre-poll voting period we should have. And I think these are really interesting questions of how we balance how to run a good democracy, how we enable people to participate effectively, and what the community expectations are around these matters. And I anticipate some interesting discussions through the course of this coming term on how we answer those questions and what rules we want to have for ourselves going forward. I'll simply conclude by saying, of course, we've got 6 more days until we actually come back for the swearing in. 6 days, 7 days, depending on how you count it. And I look forward to the discussions across the course of those 6 days. Thanks very much, everybody.
Okay, if there's no other speakers of any of the parties who wish to speak or any elected candidates, I'll draw the matter to a close now. Thank you for your attendance. Again, congratulations to all who took part in this process and wish you very well in your endeavours. And again, look forward to working with the Assembly as we develop electoral legislation and the like and provide advice. There'll be a separate briefing for new members that myself and others will be given in the due course to make sure you're aware of your roles and responsibilities in terms of funding and compliance, but look forward to working with you all. Thanks very much for attending.